So, good day everyone. My name is Charisse Halateheyo. Today, we will be discussing some fascinating creatures called chordates. But first, let's talk about some simpler chordate relatives, which is the protochordates or the protochordata. I'll explain what they are, and then my partner, Mrs. Ramos, will take over to discuss how these creatures are classified into different groups. So what is phylum Protochordata? Protochordata refers to primitive chordates. It includes a diverse range of organisms and is also the major division of the phylum Chordata. So when we say primitive chordates, this means that it refers to creatures that were once thought to be very early chordates. So some examples of these are invertebrates. So we all know that invertebrates or any animal that lacks a vertebral column or backbone. So the major examples of protochordates are tunicates and lancelets. So because they lack a true skull, this means organisms are also known as acraniata. So acraniata refers to a group of organisms that do not have distinct cranium. So these are the bones that form the head. So these phylums organisms have a notochord at some point in their life cycle. Protochordate organisms are lower chordate organisms. So protochordates or protochordata have a notochord for a period of time or all of their lives. So these organisms, also known as acrinata, which I have mentioned earlier, just lack a proper skull and cranium. So phylum chordata are divided into two subphyla. So the first one is the protochordata and the second one is the vertebrata. So protochordata are then divided into are then classified into three groups. So the first one is the hemichordata, the second one is the urochordata, and the last one is the cephalochordata. So why are protochordates not classified as true chordata? So first, like the remaining subphylum of the chordates, the vertebrata, the protochordates, have a hollow dorsal nerve cord, gill slits, and a stiff supporting rod. The notochord, the forerunner of the backbone. Second, the protochordates differ chiefly from the vertebrates in not having a backbone. So the last one. Recent protochordates are thought to have evolved from the same ancestral stock as that which gave rise to the vertebrates. So protochordata aren't necessarily excluded from true chordates, but there's a distinction to their classification. So although they share some key features with chordates, like a notochord and a dorsal nerve cord, however, protochordates lack a defining characteristics of true chordates, which is the skull or the cranium. So this is why they're also called acrinates. So therefore, Protochordata represent an early evolutionary branch within the chordate phylum. So they possess some but not all the defining features of the group. So major characteristics of Protochordata. So first, all aquatic, mostly marine creatures. Second, relatively small-sized animals. Third, cranium or brain jaws, vertebral column, and paired appendages are absent. So this refers to the absence of a skull, which encases and protects the brain and vertebrates. Additionally, it means there are no jaws for biting or grasping food. So fourth, dorsal tubular nerve cord, gill slits, and notochord are usually present. So the fifth one, sexes may be separated or united. So when we say separated sexes, it means there are two distinct sexes, which is the male and the female. So each individual produces either sperm for males or eggs for females. So on the other hand, when we say united sexes, this means some protochordate species can be hermaphrodites. They possess both male and female reproductive organs within the same individual. So they can potentially fertilize their own eggs internally or exchange sperm externally with other hermaphrodites for genetic variation. So the last one, solitary, colonial, free-living, pelagic, burrowing, or tube-like living forms. So protochordates showcase a surprising variety in how they spend their lives. So not all protochordates live the same way. Some, like lancelets, are loners who like to swim freely in the ocean or burrow in the sand. Others, like sea squirts, are more social and live in groups stuck together, filtering food like a team. So that would be all for my topic. The next topic, which is the classification of protochordates, will discuss by Ms. Ramos. Thank you.
So now, let's move on to the classifications of Protochordata. Protochordate is classified into three kinds of subphyla based on the type of notochord they possess. They are Hemichordata, Orochordata, and Cephalochordata. So let's have the first class, which is the Hemichordata. All hemichordata are marine organisms, while some live in solitary confinement, others can be colonial. Their bodies are unsegmented, cylindrical, and stout, often lending a resemblance like a worm. So the cylindrical body is divided into proboscis, collar, and trunk. Hemichordata also are tripoblastic and bilaterally symmetrical. So when we say tripoblastic, they contain three germinal layers, which are ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. We say bilaterally symmetrical, meaning their left and right sides are mirror image of each other. The body wall has a single layer epidermis and longitudinal fibers that are smooth in nature. The blood of Hemichordata is colorless and has no corpuscle. They possess a complete digestive tract. All Hemichordata use a ciliary mechanism or use filtering to feed on the microorganism and other debris. The nervous system of Hemichordata consists of an epidermal plexus or nerve cells along with the nerve fibers. Sexes in Hemichordata may be united or separate, and gonads may exist in multiple pairs or one. Asexual reproduction is common in Hemichordata. Other reproductive traits include internal or external fertilization. After the collar of Hemichordata may have tentacles or arms, however, locomotory appendages are missing. Their circulatory system include a dorsal heart with a longitudinal dorsal and ventral vessel. The body of Hemichordata has a general surface that facilitates breathing. Otherwise, respiration occurs through a pair of multiple pairs of gill slits. So as you take a look at the image, the organism has multiple pairs of gill slits. The organism respires through gills. And also we have a proboscis gland. The proboscis gland is responsible for, or the proboscis gland serve as excretory organ, which is responsible for excretion, or responsible in, or serve as the exit for the waste materials of the organism. So example of Hemichordate include Balanoglossus and Sapoglossus. So let's move on to the second class, which is the Orochordata. Orochordata are marine organisms, filter feeders, and are mostly sessile in nature. So when we say sessile, this organism attached to a surface and the lack of ability to move around on its own. The body of Orochordata is enclosed in a leathery sheath that is also called tunicates, since it is composed of tunicin. The notochord that only appears in the larva tail of orochords disappear in adults due to retrogressive metaphorsis. So when we say notochord, it serves as the support of the organism. And also when we say retrogressive metaphorsis, it is the animal's larval stage is more complex than its adult stage. This means the organism loses some organs or structure as it matures. So during larval stage, has a well-developed notochord or nerve cord and a tail. However, when reached in adult stage, it loses its complex organs and simplifies its structure for filter feeding. The notochord, the tail, and the nervous system becomes reduced. There is no presence of an excretory system in Orochordata. The blood of Orochordates comprises venadocytes Their circulation system is of the open kind. They reproduce asexually by the process of budding. Protochordata breathes through gill slits or stigma, which are numerous in number. Instead of opening into the exterior, they open into the atrium. The nerve cord, that is also known as the neural tube in the larva, is replaced by one dorsal ganglion in adults. So the examples of Protochordata include Salpa, Herdmania, and Doliulium. Let's move on to the third class, which is the Cephalochordata. Cephalochordata are also marine organisms and filter feeders. The tails of Cephalochordata stay throughout their lives. Their body wall is made up of myotomes, often lending a fish-like resemblance. Cephalochordata does not have the formation of a brain instead of having the nerve cord for all their lives. Their notochord persists throughout their lives, extending up to the head of the cephalic region. Cephalochordates are elongated, fish-like animals with a pointed head and tail. Their bodies are segmented and divided into myotomes, which are groups of muscles that helps them move. They are filter-feeding animals that live burrowed in sand or mud on the ocean floor, found in shallow, temperate, and tropical waters. Cephalochordates are filter feeders. They draw water in through their mouth, which is located at the anterior end of their body. The water passes over gill slits where food particles are trapped in a mucous net. The mucous net is then moved to the mouth by cilia. Cilia, it is the tiny hair-like structures. The food particles are then ingested and any waste product are expelled through the anus. Cephalochordata share some key characteristics with vertebrates. These are notochord, dorsal nerve cord, pharyngeal slit, and post-anal tail. So, notochord, it is a flexible rod that runs along the back on the animals and provides support. The notochord is the forerunner of the backbone in vertebrates. We have dorsal nerve cord. It is a bundle of nerve that runs along the back of the animal. The dorsal nerve cord is the forerunner of the spinal cord in vertebrates. Also, we have pharyngeal slits, opening in the pharynx that allow water to pass over the gills for respiration. Last, we have post-anal tail. It is a tail extending beyond the anus. So, an example of Cephalochordata includes Amphiuchus. Cephalochordates are an important group of animals because they provide a link between invertebrates and vertebrates. They help us to understand how vertebrates evolved because they share many of the same features as vertebrates. They are studied extensively by scientists who are interested in the evolution of chordates. And that would be all. Thank you.